Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this week's Tips and Tricks webinar. Today's topic is setting up Skyline. Please use the Q&A chat if you have any questions during the webinar. We'll make sure we answer those. Our presenter today is the security engineer from South Carolina, Nick Ziegler. Nick, take it away.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you guys. Like Rob said, I'm security engineer for South Carolina Commercial Business here at Checkpoint. And today I'm going to be sharing a new monitoring solution called Skyline from Checkpoint. It's a good way to dashboard statistics coming out of CP view and a good way to troubleshoot if you have anything going on in your environment. I made something similar to this when I was a Checkpoint customer, and it took a good little while. So I'm glad Checkpoint has put some time into developing a solution that's easy to deploy. And you can literally have this up and running in your environment in about 15 to 30 minutes if you have, Ubuntu or Linux server available to host the database and dashboard server. So quickly, what Skyline is, it gives you real-time data coming out of CP view, writes that into a database and gives you the ability to display that in a dashboard. The dashboard is based on Grafana, and it's fully customizable. So Checkpoint gives you a template to make it easy to set up, but you can also take that template and change it, or you can use any of the statistics coming out of this in any other dashboard that you want to. So this can be added into current dashboards that you already have, or you can merge this data with other data in your environment to get kind of a holistic overview of what's going on in your environment. You can also create alerts. So if you have 300 VPN licenses and you want an alert when you start to get to that many user count, you can have it alert you and say, hey, you're about to go over your VPN user count. And there's all kinds of other things, bandwidth and other things that are getting brought in here, CPU usage. So you can have alerts on high CPU usage if you need to. So this is a list of the collected metrics, and we can send this presentation out. It's from CPX last year, so we can send a link out to this presentation. But this is just a list of the metrics that get brought over from the agent on the gateway into the database, and you can graph any of these and alert on any of these. There's some more metrics that come over, and a little bit more metrics that come over. So this is kind of what the single gateway dashboard looks like once you get it set up. Gives you good information about CPU usage, bandwidth. It also will tell you, what jumbo hotfix, what version in jumbo hotfix you have installed, and give you interface status if you have any interfaces down and what each interface is doing. There's also a template for a multi-gateway view. So if you have a bunch of gateways in your environment, you can use this template to see an overview of those statistics across all of your gateways. So a quick rundown of how this works. There's a CPU use package that gets installed on the gateway, and that's an open telemetry agent that can write data to a Prometheus server. And then you can make a dashboard in Grafana to consume that data. This is some information around what versions are required. It does work for VSX, and you need at least 8010 for this to work in your environment. And they are adding more metrics to this as it goes. So there'll be like a new CPUs package that you can just update whenever they roll out more metrics into that OpenTelemetry client. So back up here, this line here says a little bit of maintenance up front to get this going. The Checkpoint side is pretty easy to set up. It's just a CPUs package and then a text file that you edit on the gateway to tell it where your server is. But what I'm going to go over today is how to set up that Ubuntu server, or you can run any flavor of Linux, but how to set up that server to be able to store and consume the data. So first thing I want to share with you is an SK that goes over how to, let's see if I can find it. Yep. So this is the Skyline deployment SK, and I'm going to drop this link in the chat now so you guys can follow along. But this goes over everything you need to know on how to set this up. How it works, what the agent and collector are doing, what the database and dashboard server do. It's a little diagram here of how it writes the data and how each thing is used. Good requirements section, and these are the actual downloads that you need to deploy for this to work. So depending on your gateway version, there's a RAD40, RAD1, and RAD10 CPU use package. And then the Grafana dashboard templates that I told you about that make it really easy to consume are here. And you can import those directly into Grafana. So I'm going to share this list of instructions real quick. So if you can see my VS Code window here, this is kind of every command you need to run to get this going on a Ubuntu 20.04 server. So basically, once you get your server up, you can copy and paste all of these commands, and that's basically all you need to do to set up the server side. I had to figure all this stuff out, so that's why I wanted to do this talk today, to save you guys some time in setting this up. So I have a Linux server already set up, but it doesn't have the database and the dashboard server set up on it for you. So I'm going to share that and go ahead and run some of these commands to show you how easy this is to set up. So I'm going to drop to PuTTY here. And I am not a root user, so I'm just going to take the first two lines of that text file that I showed you and drop those in, because it's going to ask me for my password. All right, and once you authenticate one time, or if you're root, you can just go ahead and drop the rest of those in. So I'm going to copy the rest of those commands and paste them on. Oh, it asked me for my password again. Okay. All right, so these are all the commands from that text file that I just ran, and as you can see, the Prometheus server is running now. So after you do that, in the instructions over here, it says you can go out to the IP address of your server on port 9090 to test if the Prometheus server is up and running. So let's do that now. That IP address is 192.168.1.253 port 9090. All right, so now we know our Prometheus server or database server is up. We can get out of this, and we need to set up Grafana now. So these are the commands to download and set up Grafana. I'm going to drop those in to the Linux server now. Actually, I wonder if I can just share my whole screen so I can quit going back and forth. Okay, so let's drop these commands into the server. It's installing Grafana now and enabled it. So basically what this system D command does is, system control command does is enable this so it will start automatically when the server starts. And to test that, we need to come out here on port 3000. 3000. Okay, so now we have a Grafana server up and running on our Linux server. The default login, as it says over here, is admin, and it will ask you to change that as soon as you as soon as you log in. Okay. So we have Grafana up, and now we need to bring our Prometheus server. We need to bring our Prometheus server back up. So once you have Grafana, bring Prometheus back up. And the reason we have to run this command again is because it's not set to automatically start with the server. I do have the Prometheus .service file, so you can actually run this command and create this file to have this start automatically. So I'll share that with you guys too. So we're going to bring the Prometheus server back up, and back in Grafana, really the only thing you have to do in here is add a data source. So you'll come into data sources, add a new data source. It's a Prometheus database that we're going to be pointing at. And the IP for that, on at least in my environment, is 192.168.1.253. There's no authentication or anything, so you can just come down here and hit save and test. We got connection refused. Let's see, I might not be HTTP there. On port. Okay. Oh, why is this not working? That's running. Okay, so you do have to put the HTTP in there and the port. But now you can see that data source is up and working, so we can save and test. We'll go back to data sources. Now we have the Prometheus database connection on Grafana. So now we can go to our dashboards, and this is the part that Checkpoint makes it really easy, right? You can create your own dashboard, which is kind of complex and can take some time, but you can also drop down here and go to new and import. And in the SK, this download here that says Grafana dashboards, if you extract this file, you'll get a JSON file to import into Grafana. So let me just come out here and pick that JSON file and import. Oh, you got to point it to your data source, which is Prometheus. Import. Okay, and now that's all you need to do. So you have your Prometheus server up, you have your Grafana server up, you've imported the dashboard. Now you can install this CPUs package on the gateway and edit the text file to point to your server. So I'm going to show you guys that real quick. All right, so that file that you need to edit is right here. I have to use VI here. Okay, so in this file, the only thing that you need to change is the location of your Prometheus server. The one that I'm showing you guys for this demo is at 253, but my production one is at 252. So you set that here, give it an instance name, which can be the name of the gateway you're on. And then you just save that. And after you save that configuration file, you can run this command here to stop the Skyline agent, and then run this command to restart it, and it will start writing to your database. And after about 5 minutes or so, this is what you should see. So you should start seeing it populate data. So this is a gateway that I have here at home that I'm doing some testing on, but it's running Skyline pointed to another Linux server that has the same database and Grafana setup on it. So if you run through these commands, if you have a Ubuntu server and run through these commands, install the package on the gateway and point it to your database server, you should be able to have this up within a half hour or so. And less time for each additional gateway because you already have your database server set up. So each additional gateway you want to add in here, you just install the CPUs package and edit this configuration file to point to your database, and it'll start writing the data in there. Do see we have 3 questions out here. Somebody said, is the SK correct? It only guaranteed to work with one single. Can you further explain? So yes, the SK is correct, and it does work with more gateways. So there is another dashboard that we've created. You can always create your own, but let me come out here and import the other JSON file. There's an all assets JSON file. I haven't used this in my environment yet, but you can see as soon as you import it, it brings in. So in here, you can select a certain gateway, or you can say all gateways. I only have one gateway in my environment to show you, but if you had 50 gateways, this asset count would say 50, and it would show you, the top 3 in RAM usage and CPU usage. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah, I got a couple more here, Nick.
Okay.
You mentioned upgrade, like how do you upgrade this feature? How, get the new metrics installed? Is it automatic, or do you have to go out to the SK and download it?
Right now you have to go out to the SK and download it. Skyline's an EA. I don't know if this is going to be rolled into main train and be in GA code. I would assume it will be later and be a feature you can turn on and off. But right now you have to come out to this SK and get the CPUs package. But yeah, I can take that back and find out. I assume this is something that's probably going to be in main train eventually. I would like to see it there at least.
Yeah, absolutely. How about any performance hit on the gateway when this is running?
I haven't seen any performance hit, but I'm sure, as you're writing a lot more data, there may be a very small amount of performance hit, maybe within the 2 to 3 CPU percentage range. It's only writing a very minimal amount of data to the database, like a timestamp and a value for each of those metrics over here. So yeah, it's very low bandwidth, and it should be very low impact on the gateway.
Okay. And I know it's an EA, but you're showing those metrics there. What if there's a metric I want, or can you request a metrics to be added? Is there a way to process that at this point?
Since it's still an EA, I think now would be a good time to bring up if there's a metric that you want added into it. You guys can always email me. I can share my email here. I'll put my email at the bottom of this file. Rob, do we have a way to share this file out to the attendees?
Yeah, I'll send a follow-up email and link all this information you have. We'll get it out to everyone.
Okay, so I'm going to leave my email in this text file that gets shared out to everyone. If you guys have some metrics that you'd like to see added, please send them over to me, and I will follow up internally with R&D and at least request that they get added.
Okay, I got some more here. Question is this supported by TAC?
Seeing as it's an EA, I would say no right now, but when it goes GA, I don't see why it wouldn't be. Kyle,
Right, once it goes GA, right?
Yeah.
Another question, will this sustain a reboot, both gateway and the Ubuntu server?
Yes, the gateway will, and the Ubuntu server will for the Grafana server and the way it's been installed in this text file. Another file I will be sharing with you is the Prometheus.service file that you can create And if you create that and run these commands, the Prometheus server will sustain a reboot. So you need to do this, which I'll also share with you, for Prometheus server to start automatically on the Ubuntu server.
Right. Another question. Can the gateway emit connections for measurements such as IP SLA on routers?
Are you talking about a count of connections?
Dwayne, oh yeah, such as have the gateway initiate HTTP or ping connections to external hosts, so I can show people the firewall is not the problem with your printing your Word documents.
Oh yeah, that is a good
Good one, Dwayne.
yeah, that's a good one actually. Let me look back at the metrics. I guess you're looking for like heartbeats or something to where, you know, you can say HTTP traffic is flowing on the gateway, SSL traffic is flowing on the gateway. I don't know if there's a metric right now that can do that, but yeah, that is one I will take back, because I would definitely like to see that. And it would probably be like a binary or value or a Boolean value that says, you know, 1 or 0. Is the traffic flowing? You know, did that heartbeat come back with a connection, or did it fail? And we can have like a true or false, or 1 or 0, and then in the dashboard we can just convert that to green or red, or yes it's flowing, or no it's not flowing.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So I think that's. Oh, do we have one more? Oh, might want to use your
Other
team
things
widget.
like SD-WAN devices do that. So I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this, but SD-WAN is in EA right now, and this gateway that I have is testing SD-WAN. So some of these interfaces that you see down here are SD-WAN interfaces. So I mean, theoretically, you can get information off of SD-WAN interfaces as far as how much traffic is going across each interface. And in, you could probably rename these in the dashboard to say, hey, you know, instead of ETH2 receive and ETH2 transmit, you could probably say, hey, this is Spectrum receive and transmit, or, you know, AT&T or whoever your provider is. You can probably convert these names in your dashboard. You'd have to edit this tile right here to say, hey, this is the bandwidth statistics on this carrier that's coming into SD-WAN. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I think that covers it, unless anyone has anything else. No, looks like we're good. Great. Thank you, Nick. Great information. Like we said, we'll send the follow-up email with the reference content and all that data that Nick shared with us here. You'll see that soon, and I'll also have the recording link. Our next webinar will be in 2 weeks. You'll see the invitation for that soon. And I guess that leaves it. Thank you, Nick. Great information. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and we'll see you here next time.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.